Gottlieb was a big pinball machine company. They decided, hey, we want to get into this video game craze. So they didn't have a lot of games that were well known. Their biggest hit though, a smash hit though, was Q*bert.
Q*bert wasn't the original name for this game. It was originally Snot and Boogers. How awesome is that? Man, I would have lost my shit if that was the final name, but I guess, you know, it was a little like juvenile, which of course I was a little kid, so it would have worked to me then, but now it'd be like, man. So Q*bert works.
It's like an isometric pyramid kind of game where you move up and down trying to turn over each of the different cubes that you land on until you complete the whole puzzle.
You only had a couple of enemies to deal with, but they were kind of bouncing around and following you, so it was always interesting. And there was a couple of like discs on either side that you can kind of use as a one-time thing to get you back up to the top, sometimes to get out of a hairy situation, sometimes to reset yourself to get going down the other side.
What are you in Q*bert? You're some orange Muppet looking thing with a big nose, you speak in gibberish, and you have a 4-way directional joystick, but on a diagonal, and that's how you do. You move along on this cube pyramid.
Because the board was like a pyramid, they actually mounted the joystick in a diagonal fashion. So you would actually move in diagonals.
Like a cross.
Right, instead of, you know, up, down, left, right, which was pretty innovative.
I don't know how much the arcade controls differ from the Atari controls, but on Atari, it's like, geez, I don't want to say it wrong, but if you hit like down, it kind of, you can fall off the side very easily, and either you're naturally kind of good with the Q*bert controls, or you suck at it. I happen to be really, really good at it, but most people I've ever played that game with hate it. They just think the controls are garbage.
One of the interesting things about Q*bert is it was one of the more licensed arcade games of the 80s. There was toys, there was a cartoon, there was a board game. It had its own incredibly weird and wacky pinball machine later on, but it really was Gottlieb's only known arcade hit.
Sure.
Best part about Q*bert, of course, is the iconic moment when you lose a life and the speech bubble shows up above him with kind of like different symbols to, you know, obviously they're getting at that he's swearing.
It kind of had this digitized, mumbly, jumbled voice that Q*bert had when he basically swore.
Yeah.
Well, originally the plan was to actually have there to be a noise, like an actual word that Q*bert would say, but the limitations of the chip prevented it, so the programmer just started putting random numbers in, and that's how we got Q*bert's swearing.
Actually, my Uncle Sean is on the Twin Galaxies record board in the top 5 or 10 for Q*bert, and that makes us proud as a family.